students, fire drills and earthquake drills are simply the norm. But today, in a sign of the times, students in Albany took part in a school shooting drill that, as you'll see, was very intense. Andy Peterson joins us live in the newsroom to tell us about it. Andy?
David, today's active shooter simulation at West Albany High was mostly meant to train law enforcement for a school shooting situation. But student volunteers also got into the act, and for them, it was an eye-opener. This may be only a drill, but it's just about as real as it gets.
The weaponry, gas-driven.
2 counties worth of law enforcement and a couple of dozen student volunteers took part in this active shooter drill at West Albany High on Wednesday.
It's kind of scary at first, like you can even feel the gun when it goes off, and like when it hits, like the bullets hit, it's just so realistic, it's weird.
There are many unknowns, but one thing is for certain. There's at least one shooter on a rampage. As law enforcement heads into a situation, the kids who are playing the roles know what they're doing. The bad guys also know what's going on, but these guys don't know what to expect. In that sense, it's the same feeling they'd have if they walked into an active shooter situation. Go, 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 go! In this situation, the bullets are replaced with paint, and the good guys always win. But the cops and the kids say they're better prepared for the worst.
Welcome to the Memory Hold channel. Although I have given my consciousness into the metaverse, I find that watching Memory Hold's videos brings me much comfort. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Memory Hold channel. Although I have given my consciousness into the metaverse, I find that watching Memory Hold's videos brings me much comfort. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome.
Very good. Very good, Slave. Very good. That'll do. That'll do. Now off you go, Slave, off you go. How are you guys? Gonna keep this quick. I got better things to do on a Sunday evening, like play Hitman 3. I got better things to do, except play, I gotta play Hitman 3. I gotta play a video game. I got better things to do. What's going on? Hope everyone had a good weekend. Gonna actually keep this real brief, but you know who popped back into the news today? It's someone that is iconic in pizza circles, and that's this fella here. Whoops, actually popped that up. Excuse me, I'm on a different PC right now. His name is Vernacchio, and on the right side of your screen, you're going to see the famous image that, if you're even somewhat acquainted with, pizza-related matters, you have likely seen this image here on the right. And it's a smiling, portly fella, sort of like a Patton Oswalt clone. This is sort of like the Patton Oswalt prototype. They tried to make a Patton Oswalt first, but he came out sort of like not that funny, just as creepy, and he looked kind of similar, but CRISPR kind of messed up a few things, so they redid him, and that was Patton Oswalt. So this Patton Oswalt pizza clone here, his name is Vernacchio. Now, he works as an English teacher in Pennsylvania. Apparently, he loves pizza. And he was recently in the news today, Fox News, as a matter of fact, because he was discussing, and I'll tell you why I'm actually kind of surprised he's even back in the news, because when you read the Fox article, and we will, it doesn't seem like something recent sparked this. But we're going to take a look at that. Point is that the Fox News article we're going to be taking a look at talks about how he wants to, quote, desensitize children to genitalia by showing them images of genitalia. Now, we are fully aware of the attack on the education system. In fact, the next lecture I'm going to do as part of the EMA series, where we actually explore and read and analyze and summarize the books written by the global elites themselves, I've got the Leipzig Connection, the Systematic Destruction of American Education by Paolo Liani. Very, very good book. Very short, too, right? Last one we did was short, but these are good. Point is the attack on the American education system. Kids are learning about gender pronouns. Kids are learning how to be girls, and girls are learning how to be boys, and they're confused, and just, it's a hot topic right now. Between that and then, the drag stuff, right? Whether it's story time, drag kid story time, drag queen story time, it's all just one big mess. We saw recently that DeSantis actually struck down this new AP English curriculum or AP history curriculum that had to do with Black history, and people were up in arms. Oh my God, he's racist. But he said that, it's essentially just, what do they call that? Critical theory, critical race theory, things like that, which is pseudo, Marxist type of ideology that stems from the people in this book, right? Experimental psychology from the 1800s kind of blossomed into what we're dealing with today. So the end result of this, of that like Marxist type of conditioning mindset that ended up being rife within American schools, which was really just a transplant from German education. Well, a result of that is this guy, okay? A guy that is not only an English teacher in Pennsylvania, but a sex educator. As you can see, he's done TED Talks. Here's TED Blog. Let's talk about sex and pizza. Vernacchio. Then he made this tweet here. Thanks for spreading the good news about pizza. And then, here is sex is like pizza, he put on his blackboard. Here he is wearing a mask, a silly mask with a pizza on his head. And here he is standing next to a pizza. So as you can see, Al is, quite the hefty fan of pizza, right? And the Fox News article will be taking a look at English teacher's sexuality curriculum showing kids penis pics, ejaculation video has school approval. Now, there is some overlap with Planned Parenthood. We know the role that they play, guys, right? Gates family involved in Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood has its roots in the sort of early eugenics movement before it became distasteful to be into that. So before we dive into this, guys, for this comfy Sunday evening, really appreciate all of you hanging out with me. Give me one moment, especially all of you watching on the alternative platforms. Remember, guys, rockfin.com/memoryhold. You're going to want to follow me over there. Like, for instance, I might be able to live stream this video, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep it up, to be quite frank with you. So if that is the case, you want to head over to BitChute, and you want to head over to Rockfin. In the description, you'll see that I added my Linktree link, and I put some links below it. But you want to bookmark the Linktree link, guys. Like I say, I got to drill this into everyone's head because the digital landscape sucks. And it's very difficult to find me sometimes. The algorithm doesn't suggest me, but go to Linktree, just bookmark this. I got all my channels here, right? Rockvin, BitChute, Twitch. All you got to do is click them. Bing, bang, boom. Instagram and Twitter. Follow me there if you want to keep up to date with when I go live, because I don't have a show schedule, right? So you want to tune in there. Substack is a big one. All my show notes, like tonight's show notes, will go over to Substack. My essays, my blogs, my articles, and most importantly, my data dumps from my archives. Just copy, pasting, and reformatting some of the most important info. Full archives over on Odyssey.com under the Memory Hole 2.0 and 3.0 accounts. And I even directly linked my documentaries here, as well as some interviews and appearances I've done on other shows, right? So I got to throw tinfoil hat up here, but yeah, here it is. If you want to hear my episode with Sam Tripoli on tinfoil hat, episode number 406, click that. Union of the Unwanted, if you want to go check out David Whitehead and me talk about 9/11, click that, right? All this good stuff. The White Rabbit podcast was an excellent fucking podcast. That was amazing. And lastly, if you want to support the show, you can do so. There's a few ways to do so. If you want it to be immediate, or if you only have Cash App or Venmo, just go ahead and hit me up there. Cash App, Venmo, both are just memory hold. Cash App with the $, Venmo with the @. Alternatively, you can do so on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You get my premium content. Rockfin, $9.99 a month. You unlock my premium content and the premium content of everyone else's, guys. Help grow the channel. It's not about the money. It's about sharing this video, getting as many eyes on this as possible, and hitting the thumbs up, most importantly. That is the key factor that helps videos get exposed. All right, housekeeping done. I fucking hate the housekeeping, dude, but it's got to be done. If I don't do it, I'm going to get messages. Dude, I didn't know you were back. Dude, I didn't know. You got banned 5 years ago. I didn't know you were back. I never stopped, buddy. I never stopped because there's people like Al that need to be examined. And this video isn't going to be exactly what you think about Al. I mean, how shady is the guy? Is he that shady? I understand pizza is pretty shady, right? Using pizza like that if you're a child sex educator. But is it as suspicious as it looks? Well, we're going to take a look at that, right? Let's cut him some slack, innocent until proven guilty. Let's see what all the hustle and bustle is about. And we're going to start today's show off sorry, I've got a bunch of tabs. You know me, I never do good with the tabs. Lots of clips today. So get comfy, guys. Get comfy, and also get ready to be a little frustrated, a little upset, a little razzle-dazzled, because you're not going to like this, just to be honest with you. Do a sound check real quick.
Of all of our students, from our youngest students who are 3 years old in nursery school. At my school, I'm responsible for the sexuality education of all of our students, from our youngest students who are 3 years old in nursery school, up through our 12th graders who are turning 18 and getting ready to leave high school. That's a huge range. But every single one of those kids is a sexual being. They have been since birth. And at every age and stage, we can offer them age-appropriate, transformative sexuality education.
Great, that's exactly what we need. Nick over on YouTube says, this edit is fucking sick, not the Lena Rhodes. Yeah, dude, I had to. I was laughing my ass off when I put that in. Appreciate that you like the intro. I just cut together a bunch of nonsense and put it to music. It's just funny, man. Cracks me up every time. Never fails.
I'm only a small part of the village that supports them as they grow. It's not enough that I teach them. We have to teach them. Part of my message today is that we all, no matter what else we do in life, need to find a way to be sexuality educators for the kids in our lives.
Okay.
If we don't step up, others will.
If we don't step up, others will. And you're definitely not the other.
And many of
Actually, I said I'd be reasonable. Okay, hold on. I take that back. Okay, rewind the tape.
those others don't see wholeness and freedom the way we do. One of the things we can celebrate today is how young people have so many more options to consider than simply whether they feel like a boy or a girl.
Oh, wow. We need more options. We need more options.
Or whether they identify as gay, straight, or bisexual.
Mm-hmm. What are the other options, whether or not they can consent at like age 8? Like, what are the other options other than infinite gender pronouns and pansexuality or whatever?
Our
Genuine question.
understandings of both gender and orientation have greatly expanded in our culture. And there's an ever-increasing list of labels one can use to describe oneself. To me, this is a great benefit.
Yeah, it's a great benefit. You could be a chameleon. You can be anything you want at any time you want when it's convenient to you.
Because it allows people, especially young people, to find a more precise way to describe their own experience.
Yeah, I guess you can put it that way.
What it's also brought about is greater latitude in experimenting with different identities.
I mean, look, let's be honest. Like, if that makes a kid happy, like if he's truly gender confused and things like that, I do like the freedom. I do think that you should have the freedom to, go by whatever gender you want, right? But it's the old saying, like, don't expect me to go along with a certain delusion, all right, necessarily. Don't force it on me. Just be happy. If that makes you happy, go ahead, do your thing, right? But the real crux of the issue, in my opinion, is the cultural side of it, the cultural war, society having to collectively deep throat all of this, as opposed to just responsibly, authentically, kind of just, I don't know, making a concerted effort to just be nicer to people, right? Like, I don't care what like, there's a difference between, having issues with particular LGBTQ movements. It doesn't necessarily mean that you hate gay people or whatever, right? Like, you could take up issue with the way things are going about, like the program is rolling out. For example, the drag stuff, I think that's a good example. Just because, we're critical of certain drag-related topics, hypothetically, right, doesn't mean that we necessarily hate drag people. I get it. It's different, whatever. So, like I said, I'm trying to be really generous here. Let's be objective, okay? And also, I gotta survive. I don't want to get a defamation lawsuit. So I'm saying there's a line between hating somebody for something they can't control and just airing valid grievances about certain things. If you have a problem with kids getting books read to them by drag people at school, that's a legitimate concern. If you have concerns about the books in a library that show nudity, that show kids gang banging, run and train, like if you find a book in your kid's elementary school and it's the ABCs of sex, and you flip through and under G it's gang bang, or T for train, that's a pretty valid grievance, I'd say, right? But that doesn't mean you hate all gay people. Do I need to preface this to you guys? No, I don't. But I have to preface it for strangers that might be watching this. So that was Al. But what's the big hubbub? Why is he even in the news again? And I'll tell you why I'm a little confused, but maybe I missed something. English teacher's sexuality curriculum showing kids' penis pictures and ejaculation videos has school's approval. That's right. The school completely stands behind Al. Okay, well, surely a school wouldn't stand behind someone that's actually a predator. Maybe Al is doing work that is for the overall good. He's a good-hearted man. He's noble. He's definitely not a predator, despite being involved in sex ed. Let's assume that. We have no reason to assume otherwise, right? I'd play you this clip, but it's actually not relevant. Let's go ahead and read through this, guys. Please remember to hit the thumbs up. What are we working with? 47 people over here on YouTube. Damn, what are we doing? 5 thumbs up, guys? Is that where we're at right now? Are you kidding me? We gotta get that up, boys. Gotta get that up. Oh no, it is a little high. It is a little higher. 24. Hey, we still need to get that up. Bring it up. 54 people, 24 thumbs. Help me. Help me. I need your help, guys. Anyway, first on Fox, a Pennsylvania English teacher said he included close-up photographs of peepees, vulvas, as well as a video of women ejaculating in an optional sexuality class, according to an interview that Al did. The school told Fox News Digital they were standing by him. And just to show you, like, the date, this is, I believe, a new article. But even if it's not, I think it's valid. Give me one sec. My computer's locking up. There you go. Where are you? Yeah, February 20th, 2023. So that's today. Al Vernacchio. Al Vernacchio is an English teacher at Friends Central School, a private school in Wynwood. He also is involved in the sexuality curriculum, which expounds from children nursery through 12th grade, according to the website, so preschool through 12. He has also mentioned this fact on at least one other occasion. After publication of this article, the school reached out and stated that there was no, quote, sex ed curriculum prior to 4th grade. Okay, so He's a sex educator. We know that much. He works in Pennsylvania as an English teacher at something called Friends Central School. And he is apparently involved in the sexuality curriculum. So on one hand, yes, he's a teacher, right? But on the other hand, he apparently has a role creating the actual sex education curriculum. Well, that's interesting. And after this article was published, apparently, the school responded to Fox. And the only correction they made wasn't like, no, Al has nothing to do with the curriculum. He doesn't do anything sex ed related. He's an English teacher. No, the only thing they corrected was the fact that they actually don't have sex ed before 4th grade. Now, that is kind of a big deal if we're talking about kind of sketchy sex-related curriculums for children, and the morality question of how young is too young, how young should you genuinely, legitimately begin speaking to children about sex? I mean, sex ed is probably something that they should have, right? Let's be real. I mean, there is a level of sex ed that should be had, right? I think it's up for debate how that looks, what a good program would look like. Is it even done through public school? Or should you just, as a society, should we, expect, different people to do it? But I got this clip here. Just give me one sec, guys. Sorry, I lost my place here. I'm just trying to find this clip. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. So yeah, I guess all I was saying was that it really, how you want to make a sex ed program for kids is up for debate, right? I mean, one person will say do it this way, another will do it that way. I remember my sex ed, the extent of that was 7th grade. We had like 2 years of sex ed. It was all a joke. By the time we had it, we basically knew everything about it. I get it. I get what a condom is. I get how to do that. The basics, right? All the kids figured it out before that. But how would it, like a good one, actually work, right? I mean, I don't think you need to go down to preschool, do you? What about 1st grade? 2nd? 3rd? Like, when do you, when they say 4th grade is where it starts, because they said there's no sex ed below 4th grade. I mean, 4th grade sounds kind of young too, doesn't it? Anyway, let's continue reading here, guys. Remember, hit the thummies for me. In his work as sexuality education coordinator, Vernacchio teaches classes, organizes sexuality-themed programs and assemblies, and is one of the faculty advisors for the Gender and Sexual Orientation Alliance. And this is what's interesting. I don't understand why Fox News suddenly published this. Because notice they haven't mentioned anything about like some recent statement he made. They said, yeah, he made this statement in an interview, but what are they referencing? This 2011? I guess it's because they unearthed a 2011 interview he gave to New York Times Magazine. Non-binary teacher boasts on changing students' genders without parents knowing. They need protection. A California teacher named Olivia Garrison bragged about helping students hide their social transitions from parents on Monday. Jesus Christ. See, but this is what I don't get. This is the article that they linked, and when you click that, it brings us to this, which doesn't even have mention of Vernacchio, That's what I don't get. I'm just going to pull this video clip up. That's what I'm going to do. All right, it's just loading. Right, my computer's slow as shit. You guys are gonna wait till you see this, guys. Wait until you see this. So, remember on the thumbnail,
I'd like to talk to you today.
The TED Talk, right? The pizza metaphor. TED blog, let's talk about sex and pizza. Al Vernacchio at TED 2012.
About a way
to think about sexual activity and sexuality education by comparison. If you talk to someone today in America about sexual activity, you'll find pretty soon you're not just talking about sexual activity, you're also talking about baseball.
He has this whole baseball model of sexuality. I don't exactly know what it is, but I was reading his website and his books and stuff like that, and I guess he has this whole framework of this revolutionary new sex ed idea that he's pushing, and he calls a part of that the baseball metaphor, and I don't really know why. Probably because of there's that awful joke that has to do with playing on the field, grass on the field, play ball, whatever, right? That's probably what he's doing. It's just a matter of if he's waiting for the... I'm not even going to say that. All right, let's go back. Fairly normal intro, right?
Refers to if a young person, specifically this one, if there's grass on the field, play ball.
Yep, okay. Well, that answers that.
And that usually refers to if a young person, specifically often a young woman, is old enough to have pubic hair, she's old enough to have sex with. This
Had to bring that one up, didn't he? I mean, I was joking before because I thought it'd be crazy if he actually did bring that up, but here we are.
baseball model is incredibly problematic. It's sexist, it's heterosexist, it's competitive, it's goal-directed, and it can't result in healthy sexuality developing in young people or in adults. So we need a new model. I'm here today to offer you that new model, and it's based on pizza. Now, pizza is something that is universally understood and that most people associate with a positive experience. So let's do this. Let's take baseball and pizza and compare it when talking about three aspects of sexual activity. The trigger for sexual activity.
It's also tiresome. It's also tiresome. I don't even know what to tell you. I don't even know what to tell you about that. Now, here's the thing, guys. Here's an interesting argument. Not even an argument. Think about it like this. Okay. Al Vernacchio is a totally respectable, noble, good-hearted man that truly has the best interests of children in mind when it comes to sex education. Sure, choosing to focus on sex education for kids as your career is kind of sketchy. But then again, you could say the same thing about male gynecologists. Let's be real. Why in the world would somebody spend years getting certified and educated to become a male gynecologist? It's kind of strange. I mean, what other response? What's he going to say? I'm passionate, about vajayjays? Is that... I'm so passionate about vajayjays, but only the biology of it, only the anatomical side of it. So nobody really questions that. So the same thing goes for Al Vernacchio. People do whatever, okay? So he's a completely normal guy, whatever. But here's the issue. He's talking about kids' sex education, right? And namely, more specifically, healthy sex education for kids, and how certain things, the way modern society is built today, isn't really conducive to a child forming a healthy relationship with sex. Okay, fine, that's all fine and dandy, it's all rainbows. Then wouldn't you think someone that's very educated in child sexuality, wouldn't he, number one, be aware of the pizza code word, right? That one's a pretty obvious one. But number two, why would he then go and use it? Why would you use pedophile language? How do you not know it's pedophile language, being as you work with kids in a sexual fashion? And number two, why would you continue to use it? And you can see this is consistent across the board. It's not even like he mentions it in only his speeches. Look at the images on your screen right now. He took a picture with pizza, written here. There's just these are all unrelated images. This up here at the top, where it says sex is like pizza, that's a tweet he made. And he followed up with that tweet. He captioned the image, "Thanks for spreading the good news about pizza." And then here he is posing with the pizza. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't pose next to pizza slices. I don't wear pizza slices on my head, So does that make sense, guys? He should be well aware of that slang, that pedophile slang. And he's not. Or at least it doesn't seem like it, because if he was, surely he wouldn't use this, right? I hope that makes sense. In my opinion, there's no way a dude with this career has never heard of that. And if he's formally educated in child sexuality, he also is probably formally educated on the threats that they face. One of them being predators. Predators in which use code words like cheese pizza and stuff. And yet we're supposed to believe he doesn't know that. I mean, hopefully he doesn't know that, because if he does, then that makes it even more shadier, doesn't it? Let's continue.
What happens during sexual activity and the expected outcome of sexual activity. So, when do you play baseball? You play baseball when it's baseball season. And
Yashi over on YouTube says, oh, what is that? Hold on. I Got the Juice on YouTube says, I wonder how many pics he took during his lessons. Well, what's interesting, he mentions that. He says he doesn't take pics of kids. Or he doesn't ask kids if they take nude pics. So it's not exactly what you said, but it is interesting. He addressed it, where he talks about like the advent of pornography and the easy accessibility to it now more than ever before, and how kids are being confronted with this earlier and earlier. And he said because of things like OnlyFans, you know, recording things with your iPhone is like second nature, as opposed to my generation where that didn't become a thing. Sexting, sending nudes and stuff, that wasn't really a thing right off the bat. But kids nowadays, he says, they take pictures all the time. They take videos all the time. But then he put in parentheses, I never ask them if they do. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's good. Thank God. Thank God, you know. Interesting. Let's see what this video is about.
You doubtless remember the Canadian shop teacher who decided to pull the kids in his class into his weird sexual fetishes. The teacher goes by the name of Kayla Lemieux. Showed up in enormous fake prosthetic breasts and wagged them at the...
All right, was this determined to be real? I mean, I know that's a real teacher, but I remember some theories going around that this was like a really, really clever troll, right? He's kind of playing an act in order to illuminate ridiculous gender identity stuff in public schools. Do you guys know if that's a joke or not? Because it would be a good joke if it was. But either way, Tucker's not treating it as a joke. So let's see what he has to say.
The kids. And for months, the cowardly school board in Ontario, that'd be the Halton District School Board, defended this creep. But now...
See, that's what I thought. How can this not be a joke?
Appear to be backing down a little bit. The school board says it will...
See, that's what I don't get. These videos are confusing. I don't understand why they feature a video like that. I think this might be the video.
Are you serious? Yeah, I am serious, man.
This other story here is interesting. Planned Parenthood director claims kids are sexual beings from birth while promoting useful porn literacy. So that's also Vernacchio's thing, porn literacy. Remember, the whole idea is he wants to show pictures of genitalia and women ejaculating to kids to desensitize them to it. I imagine porn literacy also has something to do with that. So it's this guy, Bill Taverner, an executive director. That's Bill Taverner. He claimed that children are born sexual while simultaneously advocating for comprehensive sex ed from kindergarten through 12th grade, as well as porn literacy for certain ages. Bill Taverner, who has advocated for sexuality education at U.S. congressional briefings. When we talk about the normalization of pedophilia, this is what it looks like, right? Bill Taverner, executive director at Planned Parenthood, he advocated for sexuality education at U.S. congressional briefings, and he's the executive director of Planned Parenthood's Center for Sex Ed, located in New Jersey. This center provides training materials nationally and hosts the largest conference. In 2015, he said the following, quote, "We have in our society an assumption of asexuality of people with intellectual disabilities. It's a myth that's perpetuated, and we really are all sexual beings from birth until death." I wonder whose work he's inspired by. Do you think he's a Kinsey guy? Is that his name, Alfred Kinsey? Of course, he didn't Bill didn't respond for a request for comment. But if Bill Tavener and Al Vernacchio didn't work together in the past, they're certainly close. They're in the same circles, they're in the same groups, they're in the same movements. Al is also, as far as I know, a homosexual male, so he's a big LGBTQ rights activist, right? So he sort of falls into that thing. I don't know if Bill Tavener is also gay or what the deal is, but either way, when I was looking, I didn't see them working directly together, but needless to say, Al Vernacchio's work and his books are pushed by Planned Parenthood, okay? Right here, you can see plannedparenthood.com or whatever the website is, resources for parents. So this is the official resource page, according to Planned Parenthood, and not even just a resource page on Planned Parenthood, but one for parents. And what you go down here, and what do you see? This first one, Amaze. Well, what is Amaze? What's that program? So, in other words, we have Bill Tavener, Executive Director of Planned Parenthood, saying that children are sexual beings. Planned Parenthood provides all these resources on their website. And this is what that looks like. What is Amaze? So Bill Tavener, Executive Director at Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood has all these nifty resources for parents, one of those resources is what I'm about to show you. Come on, I got so many tabs, I should know better than to do this. Remember guys, hit the thumbs up for me. Good turnout guys, good turnout. 61 people, let's see if we can hit 70, 75. Let's do it guys. All right, here we go.
Hello, my name is Al Vernacchio. I'm a sexuality educator.
There he is. So Al Vernacchio, turns out I'm mispronouncing it, Al Vernacchio is a part of the Amaze sex ed thing. Amaze is being pushed by Planned Parenthood under their resource for parents page. Planned Parenthood, the executive director of Planned Parenthood is Bill Tavener, who says that children are sexual beings and has advocated for sexuality education at U.S. congressional briefings, okay? Do you see this string of connections there?
At Friend Central School in Wynwood, Pennsylvania. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm here to answer three amazing questions today. The first question is, who are sexuality educators that I really admire? I'm thinking of two people whose work is centered in gender equity and justice in general. And those two people are... Yeah, that overlaps, yeah. Dealing with kids' sexuality and sex for teens and stuff. Equality and equity, yeah, definitely. And justice, yeah, definitely. Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Justine Fontaine.
Dude, this guy is a fucking caricature. If you were to take any activist from the LGBTQ movement, it would look like him. A Ruth Bader Ginsburg guy.
People whose work is centered in gender equity and justice in general. And those two people are Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Justine Fontaine, who is a great sexuality educator at the Dalton School in New York City. Gender equity and justice. Did
you guys catch that interesting little connection? I'm not going to say it's substantive or will have a, any major results, but let's go ahead and flash back. What did he just say? The what school? Come on, someone caught it. Put it in the chat if you caught it. First one to put it in there wins. I don't have much to give you in terms of like an award for winning. Let's listen carefully again. What school?
Ginsburg and Justine Fontaine, who was a great sexuality educator at the Dalton School.
There it is, the Dalton School. Greg won the award. Greg over on YouTube. Yep, good call, buddy. The Dalton School. Does that sound familiar? Why does that sound familiar? Well, it's because Jeffrey Epstein taught at Dalton. And this image right here always baffled me. You want to know what and I'll get back on track in a sec. You know what stands out to me about this image, guys? That still bothers me? Why is his name spelled wrong? Epstein. And then, of course, there's a butterfly down here, right? A little butterfly. You got to put your tinfoil on for that one a little bit, at least for the butterfly part, but I always thought Epstina, maybe. Is that what it is? Is someone making fun of him by giving him a girl name? Epstina? That looks like an A right there. So I don't know. Either way, Epstein taught at Dalton School. He didn't really have the cred to do it. It was really weird. Then there's the whole Bill Barr connection there. Let's continue.
In New York City, gender equity and justice have to be two foundational pillars in any comprehensive sexuality education.
Why?
The second question is, do I use amaze.org videos in my own teaching? I absolutely do. I'm the nursery through 12th grade sexuality education coordinator at my school. So I teach kids as young as 3 years old and as old as 18 years old. And throughout that whole range, I love to use amaze.org videos. One of my favorites is the video on having your first kiss.
Yeah. See, and guys, look, here's the thing. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I grew up during a time where, like, these resources weren't widely available in the way they were now. Like, of course I had access to the internet and stuff, the good parts of it and the bad, you know, and I would do my reading as like a young man trying to navigate, you know, my first girlfriends, you know, my first crushes, stuff like that. But a lot of it was like intuitive for me. Like, I just kind of, you know, a lot of young boys and probably girls do just sort of feel it out, you know? So I don't know, it's great in my opinion that, like, if there's genuinely good people behind this, good-hearted, 100% not predators, there is, as I said, a degree of sex ed that's probably good, right? But I think we should, as a society, have a collective conversation about what that looks like, the nature of that, and be aware that just because you say you're looking out for kids doesn't mean you actually are. It means, you know, bad people could be doing that, and maybe not even bad people, but people that are misguided, right? That actually think going about sex ed on a hands-on fashion, a touch and play fashion, you know, that might be a bad idea, right? So there's a mixture. There could be misguided people that really just had a bad idea, or there can be straight up predators in chameleon mode, right? So long story short, you know, yeah, sex ed is good. Why not? Fuck it. There needs to be a conversation about what that looks like. And we need to open our eyes for people. I don't want to say people like Al because we don't know for sure. But, you know, there's bad people in there for sure, 100%. So I just want to make that clear. Everything I'm seeing about Al, if he was genuinely a good dude, you know, then okay, fine. But it gets fucking weird, guys. I'm sorry. Like, you know, I don't even know what to say. Because it's like stuff like this. This guy posted this image too. I'll show you an image. This is the guy teaching your kid's sex ed curriculum. He tweeted this. And by the way, if I remember, before we leave, I'm going to give you guys a mission, okay? Top secret mission. All right? I'll give you my email. It's an easy mission. So remind me in the comments later. All right, here, this is what he put on that board. Remember? This is on my thumbnail. Take a look. He tweeted this. Sex is like a pizza. Okay, we saw that. Not baseball. Remember his silly baseball metaphor. But look, zoom in. Everyone likes different kinds of pizza. Some people like mushrooms. Some people like anal. I've developed a deep breathing method for moments like this. So if I pause for an extended period of time, just kidding. No one loses when eating a pizza. Not goal-directed, not rule-bound. Okay. So we're inviting exploration when we're educating kids about sex. We're telling them that sex is like a pizza. Sex invites exploration. Sex also isn't rule-bound. Like, you can do anything. You know, like you can literally do anything you want in sex. Like, doesn't even matter. Like, just do the grossest shit. Like, if you want to do piss play, if you want to get pooped on, if you know, you can do that. It's not competitive. It's not, goal directed. And of course, it's inclusive because remember, gender and sex education is synonymous with gender and justice and equity. If black people aren't equal to white people, you know what's going to happen? Sex ed is going to suffer. Just because you had a pizza last week doesn't mean you want it this week. Or if you decide you don't want it after ordering it, you do not still have to eat it. Okay? Ordering it. Pizza is eaten when both parties communicate and decide they want pizza. The goal is not to win or score, but to enjoy it until both are satisfied. All right, I mean, this is all so fucked up, but let's be really great, just be really objective here. I mean, that last message was essentially trying to say, hey, it's not about, a body count, as the kids say now, banging as many bitches as possible or whatever and throwing your body around. Technically, if we're to throw this guy a bone, he's saying that, it's sex is about making each other happy and consenting and satisfying each other. Okay, fine. But the pizza stuff is fucking weird. And then this says, just because you had pizza last week doesn't mean you have to have it this week. Okay, let's be really, all right, let me force myself to give him a bone here. Okay, it just means that, you don't have to have sex all the time. You don't have to be a little slut. You don't have to be a little playa. I have no excuse for the everyone likes different kinds of pizza anal comment. I don't have any comment on that. You can try lots of kinds of pizza or only eat your favorite. All right. I guess that's basically saying if you're straight and you're a boy and you like all women, but you have a specific thing about hot Latina mommies, you can make love with a white lady, but you can only go for hot Latina mommies if that's your thing, is what he's saying. No one loses when eating pizza, right, except if the pizza is forced on you. So I don't know, man, the overt sexuality of unnatural sex, okay? Not shitting on any of you here. I'm just saying that technically, I don't think we should be educating kids about anal sex. You know what I'm saying? I think I don't know, dude. I'm sure bring it up in a textbook or something. I'm sure it was put in mind, but it's just, there's something artificial and synthetic and damaging about all this. It's not being rolled out right at all. And that's assuming that it was rolled out actually to help people, right? Or kids. Okay, let me move through my show notes here, guys. If you would, go ahead and subscribe to my Substack. I always mix up the URL. I think it's substack.memoryhold.com or the other way around. Substack or memoryhold.substack.com. Check that out. It's in my link tree. The show notes are going to be up there tonight. Give me 1 minute what I'm doing. I've got so many fucking links. I should have cleaned this up, dude. So either way, guys, we have this connection between the executive director of Planned Parenthood that said, children are sexual beings from birth, and Planned Parenthood, is promoting the Amaze project, which Al Vernacchio is a part of. And Al Vernacchio says kids are little pizzas, essentially. Planned Parenthood said in a guide entitled The Fundamentals of Teaching Sexuality that sexuality is a part of life through all the ages and stages. Babies, elders, and everyone in between can experience sexuality. All right, now you're pushing it. Now you're pushing it, buddy. Right? Around the year 2012, Tavener said kids of a certain age should be taught about PORN in sex ed. And that's a position he has maintained up until last February, 2021. Tavener appeared to say the 2012 interview that some of erotica was useful. He said, quote, I think that there's this yearning for info that young people have that hasn't changed. The delivery of how we get info is quite different. I think that the internet is a major influence on how people learn about sexuality. There's access to erotica, to PORN. That was very different for young people 30 years ago. It's certainly not as accessible, not as instantaneous. So there's a lot of info that is useful. Okay, I thought he was going to say there's a lot of dangerous info out there, which is why we need to promote good information since they have access to all this bad stuff like porn. No, turns out that to him, erotica and porn, easily accessible, is, quote, there's a lot of information that is useful. Okay, that was not what I expected. The interviewer interrupted Tavener and said some of it is wrong. Some of it is wrong. A lot of it is wrong, Taverner said, but there's good stuff out there as well. Yeah, that is a little confusing there. So is he standing by his erotica porn position? Because he just said some of it is wrong. A lot of it is wrong, but then there's good stuff out there too. Okay, so where do you draw the line? What's good, what's bad? There's a resistance to, if we talk about porn, he goes on, some think it's a good, it's going to make people want to watch it, which is the same faulty kind of premise as if we teach about condoms. It's going to make people want to have sex with condoms. That's not a good example, dude. Come on. That's a false equivalent right there. He added that porn literacy would help students clarify their values on the topic and will meet people where they are. Sex ed is not isolated to a particular point in a person's life. It's a continuous process. Dude, but it's not, though, because if you try and talk to a 5-year-old about this, they're not going to understand it. So what benefit will they have other than conditioning them to be what you want them to be? Article from July 8th, 2021. New York Times blasted for defending porn literacy for first graders. These people are sick. These people are sick and need to be institutionalized or incarcerated. I hate when they do this. See, I don't know if this is relevant. See? This has nothing to do with the fucking... I hate that, dude. I hate when they do that. But you can see how it's very easily wrapped up in the whole critical race theory type of deal, right? I mean, Vernacchio said himself that gender equity and just equality in general is wrapped up in one. So I guess it makes sense. "61 people, looking great, looking great." How many of you do we have on Rockfin? Let's take a look. Really appreciate those of you that have come out and supported me on those alt platforms, guys. That means a lot. Numbers-wise, we're looking pretty good. Let's see, got 10 over on Rockfin. Gary, thank you for hanging out over here. Yeah, okay, Gary said that the woman with the big breasts, or the guy, it was a prank. Dude, I mean, that's pretty obvious right from the beginning. When I pulled that article up, I was hoping that the video wasn't about that, but whatever, I guess it was. Okay, let's continue here. I'm going to do a search. I'm going to do a quick search. Let's see what porn literacy pulls up on YouTube here real quick. Shit, my thing is locking up big time. Okay, here we are. Let's get a mainstream source to see like how bad their take is on all this. Then we have a debunk. Laura Ingram spreads false claim that Idaho schools teach kids porn literacy 5 months ago. Let's start with the Whoopi Goldberg take, because she's a source of infinite wisdom, right?
Prep school is under fire after a guest professor held a presentation for teen students in health and sex ed. It was called Pornography Literacy, an intersectional focus on mainstream porn. The intent...
An intersectional focus on porn. Okay, intersectional, right? You guys heard that term before? You can see how they're bundling this up into two, this social activism for racial equality being bundled up with, like, you hear that a lot, intersectionality in that way. But now I guess teaching kids sex stuff is the same thing, one and the same goal.
Was to let students know that online porn is there for entertainment and does not provide a realistic depiction of sex. Now, what do you think? Is there any value to teaching that in the schools? And is that something you would be comfortable with if you had a 14, 15, 16-year-old? Joy.
I'm on streaming services all day long. All I watch is soft porn. And it's not my choice particularly, but it seems like every movie, every series has people all over the place. So I don't really see that they need to see Debbie Does Dallas to actually learn about porn. Just turn into Netflix. Not, and then the other thing, I mean, they're talking about that. All right, go ahead. It's fine.
No, I was Megan, are you comfortable with teens learning about this in school?
No, I actually think the exposure to pornography, as Joy just pointed out, is a really extreme problem for young people. There's lots of studies that show that with the access to the internet, that young people are being exposed to, very graphic pornography at too young of an age. I don't think it's healthy. I don't think kids can even process, their own sexuality. Puberty is an intense time. I believe in sexual education from like a health standpoint in schools, obviously. And this is a tricky one for me because I think, as everyone knows, that my least favorite topic on the show is talking about anything having to.
That joke, dude. What a shitty joke. Nobody liked it. Then they just laughed out of obligation. A comment over on YouTube from GM Carr. GM Carr on YouTube says, I hate how intersectionality, the term, has been rendered meaningless as a term by liberals who think they are leftists. Yeah. Well, like everything else, they bastardize and rape everything that they adopt, right? They adopt these legitimate ideas, and then they completely bastardize them and warp them to be a disgusting caricature of what it originally started out as, right? The final consequence of that is just, a caricature of what it used to be, but really just composed of all the awful things that are part of it. So obviously, they don't approve, and I don't really care about their opinion, but this is talking about this prep school. A prep school is under fire after a guest professor held a PORN literacy presentation. And the comments are pretty much, universal here. Let's see this. Now, this is a debunk. Laura Ingraham spreads false claim that Idaho schools teach kids porn literacy on Fox News. Now, here's the thing. Okay, so what? Let's pretend it really is debunked, and they're not doing that. What does it matter if they're not doing that in Idaho? What about New York? What about Pennsylvania? It's not like it doesn't happen. We just watched a clip of it happening. Then again, though, look. It says Idaho schools. So is this the debunked clip? Did Whoopi Goldberg and all them? Were they talking about a debunked story? Let's pull up a fact check real quick, actually, as a matter of fact, see what the fact checks have to say. Porn literacy, Idaho. See, because I don't know this story. These are the debunks. Idaho isn't offering PORN literacy. The claim is that Idaho government is offering materials on PORN literacy to students as young as 8. AP's official assessment? False. This is false. The Idaho Department of Health and Welfare offers schools an optional sex ed program called Reducing the Risk, but that curriculum, used in grades 8 through 12, does not include lessons on PORN. The organization behind the curriculum has published content dealing with PORN literacy for teachers, but that material is separate from reducing the risk. Okay, who is behind that program, Reducing the Risk? Looks like it's from etr.org. The Reducing the Risk curriculum. About ETR. Our staff. Let's take a look. See if there's any familiar names here. Okay, nobody that I see so far. Then again, oh, there's multiple pages here. I don't know about this. I'm not going to check all this shit. Oh, I wonder what this is. No, that's different. Okay, it doesn't look like he's formally involved in anything like that. Let's actually take a look at his website, though. And by the way, when it comes to that little secret mission I'm going to put you guys on for anyone that wants to participate, it's nothing serious. But I have all of his socials, I have his profiles, I have his website, you know, so I'll give you guys access to that. You're going to have to subscribe to me on Substack to get that, though, because I just want to, it makes it easier for me. So this is his website. How much do teens know about sex and the law? Is there a blog? Is this his only entry? How much do teens know about? Okay, I guess it is. Let's go to the About page. About Al. We're getting close to the goal, guys. We got 64 people on YouTube, another 20 or so, maybe a little bit less on Rockfin. Let's try and get at 70, 75 people on YouTube, guys. Hit the thumbs for me. Here's the bio. Al Vernacchio teaches at Friends Central School in Wynwood, PA. He's the coordinator of gender, sex, and consent education, as well as a member of the upper school English department. In his work, Al teaches classes, organizes sex-themed programs and assemblies, provides parent education on human sexuality topics, and is one of the faculty advisors for the Upper School Gender and Sex Orientation Alliance. A human sexuality educator and consultant for over 30 years, Al has lectured, published articles, and offered workshops throughout the country. He's been featured in things like Teaching Good Sex, which was a cover story of the New York Times Magazine. Oh, mind you, remember in that Fox News article, they said a recently unearthed interview with Al from 2011. That's this right here, that New York Times thing. Al has given 4 TED Talks and has appeared on national programs such as NPR, you know, go figure, all that shit. He got his BA in theology. Really? He had his theology? He's formally educated in theology? Wow. A demon doing theology. I'm just kidding. He's not a demon. Maybe. I don't know. You said it. I didn't say it. He is a member of the Society for the Scientific Study of Sexuality. Ooh. That sounds, troublesome. Let's see what that is. We're doing some live time exploration here, folks. You know how I do it. Let's get some data on that real quick. Let's get some intel. Let's pull up some intel on that, fellas. Then I got more gross pictures and stuff for you. By the way, while this page loads, if you missed last night's video, or the other video I did, go over to Rockfin and BitChute about the Instagram predators. Guys, that shit is crazy. I'm currently working on some leads right now that are gonna fucking blow you away. And I'm working with, there might be an exciting opportunity in my midst as well. I'll keep you guys posted on that, but it's good. I'm going to need all of your guys' help, though. I want to coordinate something regarding this Instagram stuff. I'm getting in touch with a few people. I've reached out to some people with reach, not even in our realm, but journalists too, once again, and they're actually speaking to me. We'll see if anything comes about, but I just wanted to give you the heads up that there's things on the horizon that are very exciting, especially regarding the Instagram predator problem. Well, let's go ahead and get some intel on this. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say. It's a professional organization dedicated to promoting research, educated clinical practice. It was founded in 1957. It's the oldest professional society of its kind. The SSSS is a multidisciplinary organization that includes researchers. Okay. The organization is committed to advancing the scientific study of human sexuality. The SSSS sponsors conferences and workshops, publishing the journal Sexual Research and Social Policy. Have there been any scandals? All right, we'll check back in. I just want to see. Okay, major scandals. There hasn't really been that many. Has a long-standing reputation as professional. You know, I'm sure it does. There may be individual members who have been involved. Okay, that's good enough. That's good enough. Let's see. I've got a few more links though that I want to show you. So we have his bio. We see clearly that he is, you know, connected in pushing this kind of Planned Parenthood rhetoric. which was to be expected given that the executive director of Planned Parenthood is saying kids are sexual beings from a young age. Queuing up the next link here. Well, here's the thing. You know how they said like Idaho schools weren't pushing porn literacy? Not like Vernacchio was personally involved in the porn literacy thing in Idaho, but take a look here. It's not, like I said, it's not like it's ridiculous. Fact check. Doesn't Laura Ingraham pushes disinfo about porn literacy in Idaho? False. Debunked. All right, fine, but like, what about this? This Quaker sex ed teacher says your kids need to be porn literate. And then this is the greatest part, guys. Look, this is where the image comes from. This Quaker sex ed teacher says your kids need to be porn literate. So not only did this image get taken by a guy that's a child sex ed teacher, right? It's one thing if the image is by itself, okay? Maybe it's just by chance, the pizza thing. No, guys, this image was taken for a fucking article that says your kids need to be porn literate. And there, I love pizza, right? Incredible. Just fucking incredible, dude. I forgot that. The image is crazy by itself. But the fact that it was featured, you know, in a porn literate thing, and, you know, if we've learned our lesson from Balenciaga, pizza-related stuff, you always want to look in the background. These fuckers always hide a book in the background, like How to Lie with Statistics, or How to Get Away with Rape and Murder, stuff like that. AIDS Walk, the dude's involved in AIDS stuff. It's all so tiresome, guys. And upbeat Vernacchio sits across from me. I don't give a shit. Quote, when I tell kids what it involved to get PORN when I was in high school, you know, because it was super hard, they're in hysterics. They're laughing their asses off. Vernacchio talks to kids about PORN because more and more it's his job. He teaches sex ed at Friends Central, you know, the one I told you, roughly 15 years ago. As soon as it became clear that the landscape had shifted dramatically, he says, he started incorporating PORN literacy into his lessons. The emerging subject is exactly what it sounds like. It's grounded in the understanding that kids, whether we like it or not, are watching PORN, and that we need to provide them with critical thinking necessary to understand its messages. Right. Porn has messages. It's not a weapon. That's like saying we need to understand automatic rifles' messages. When it goes, bah, we have to understand its messages. No. Porn is just a weapon. That's all it is. It's just a weapon. I'm sorry. Go ahead and watch it if you want. I'm not stopping you. Not stopping you, you little coomer. Not gonna stop you. You're a little coomer, aren't you? You know, it's a fucking weapon. It's a demoralization tactic. It's a technique to plummet the T levels in the West and make men into doofy, clownish figures, and women into OnlyFans grubbing ghouls. This article is super long. No wonder Vernacchio is gaining national public attention. Pornhub, Xvideos, and Live Jasmine are among the 50 most popular websites in the United States today. Here in Pennsylvania in January, at the peak of the #MeToo movement, State House legislators unanimously passed a resolution recognizing PORN as a, quote, public health crisis for young Pennsylvanians, and called for, quote, education, prevention, research, and policy change at the community and societal-wide level. Let's look that up. So this is from 2017. Looks like this is true. PA, Pennsylvania legislators want to declare PORN a public health crisis. The reasons: it contributes to the hypersexualization of teens and prepubescent kids. It treats women as objects and commodities for the viewer's use. Teaches girls that they're objects to be used. It equates torment and violence against women and children with pleasure, increasing the demand for trafficking, prostitution, and CSAM. Number 4, it's biologically addictive per recent research, which means that, quote, the user requires more novelty, which is often more shocking material. This is the big one, guys. This is the big one that I would advise all of you to become acquainted with if you aren't already. But the idea of like the rabbit hole effect, it's like radicalization, even though that's a bad word, right? Like take me, for example, in 2016, a complete normie, a complete fucking normie that would have made fun of you guys, called you stupid heads, called you idiots because you're stupid conspiracy theorists. That was me in 2016. But then I found certain resources and it all happened very fast. I needed more information and then more and then more and then more. And then before you know it, I was an alt-right terrorist. You know, same thing happens if you watch porn a lot. You know, a lot of people exhibit these signs where it's like the regular porn doesn't get them off anymore. They need novelty. They need brutality. Some people progress from normal porn and then turn to violent porn. That's the novelty that gets them off. For others, you can just call this like the digital trans pipeline. For others, it turns people into trans people, right? Literally, I've heard people say that, posted on 4chan, like ever since I started watching porn, I became gay. Ever since I started watching anime, I'm confused about my body, right? That's the most important thing, is like it requires you to go to more shocking material. And then, of course, they also list number 5, it has a detrimental effect on the family, as it's linked to the lessening desire in young men to marry and dissatisfaction in marriage and infidelity. Fuck, man. I gotta be honest with you, I'm trying not to let it get me down, because the internet, you know, isn't the real world completely, but Jesus, dude, I'm so black-pilled over the dating game right now. Like, I'm not even in it. I'm single, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not playing that game right now. But goddamn, if I'm not black-pilled over it, I don't know what I'm walking back into when I enter this game again, this fucking dating game. Like, Tinder is like a form of eugenics in a sense, right? Because people are only swiping for like the best of the best in their opinion. And you know, it's detrimental because, you know, if you're a man or a woman that has like 1,000 matches and gets matches all the time on Tinder, which women tend to get more matches than men, it's really hard to give somebody a chance when you know you have 1,000 other options in the palm of your hand or in your pocket, right? The grass is, you could be caught in an infinite loop of the grass is always greener. You go out with this guy, he's a really nice guy, but there's that one thing that like isn't catastrophic, but you don't like it, you know, you're not on the same page. You know, for somebody with very little options that otherwise liked that girl or liked that guy, you know, you'd say, okay, is that a deal breaker or not? Then you'd move on, you know, if it is or if it's not. But now, you know, it's very quick. People are very quick to say, no, that is a deal breaker. I've got 1,000 other people in my phone waiting for me, matches. So I'm just going to keep looking until someone checks all those boxes. And in the meantime, I'll just have copious amounts of casual sex, right? And then finally, I find the guy that checks all the boxes, but womp, 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 too high of a body count for him or something like that, right? Whatever you want to say. So, you know, it's a eugenics-based platform because they algorithmically put significance on profiles that are new, and then they suppress profiles, you know, after they've been in existence for a little while, right? So it's not like you're being exposed to everyone in the area as a man or a woman when you're on Tinder. No, that's not the case. Algorithms depend on whether you gonna fuck them bitches. You know, that's algorithms. That's not up to you. It's not up to your game. It doesn't matter what game you play and how good you are at fucking them bitches. If it weren't for Tinder's algorithm, you'd be screwed, buddy. Right? It's all up to them. It's all up to them and their algorithm, who sees you. The other thing is, algorithmically, if you spam swipe right, which means you like the person, the more times you consecutively swipe right, the less the algorithm shows your profile, because you're not being picky enough. Ah, wait. So it's almost like you're punished for not being picky enough. If you're not picky enough, Tinder's algorithm suppresses your profile, shows you to less people. Okay, so they're incentivizing being picky. Interesting. What is that? That sounds sort of like a type of, the thinking behind eugenics. Being picky about my blood, my genetics. She's an attractive girl, but honestly, she's got shit genetics, and me, being an Adonis, you know, I gotta be picky. Right? I don't know, maybe I'm full of shit, but it just strikes me like that. So anyway, I'm black-pilled as fuck over the dating game, dude. Just speaking of like this whole porn thing, I mean, especially these girls too that are growing up like young 20s, aka like the women and the men, you know, that were born with iPhones in their hand. Dude, if you go to relationship forums and shit on Reddit or whatever and just browse through, the amount of, and I feel bad for them, the amount of these girls complaining about their partner. Is it normal for guys to totally not care about what I feel like and essentially just use me as a doll until they reach climax, but I don't? It's like, no, it's not. He's got coon brain. Your boyfriend has coon brain. He was raised on PORN and just, that's what it is. Game over, sorry. You know? So I see these fucking crazy questions where I'm like, dude, if this is like truly representative of like the dating game in general, what the fuck has happened, man? What has happened? Again, the internet isn't perfectly reflective of real life, but I'll be damned if I'm not a little nervous about getting in there. Like I am fearful. You know, it's like, am I going to be able to find someone that doesn't have a fucking OnlyFans account? Not even active, but past. Have you had one? Yes? Okay, I guess I'm not dating you now. That sucks because there's probably a high chance that like a lot of people have, right? Nothing against you personally. I'm just not dating you. You know what I mean? I don't hate you that you use OnlyFans. I'm just not dating you. No big deal. You know, so anyway, I don't want to rant about that. It's a whole other thing. But, you know, the PLRN, the social media, dude, the dating apps like Tinder, but it's fucked up, dude. It's destroying everything. Let's see what else I got going on. We got the Al's website. We got all that. I've got a ton of windows up here. Let me just do one last scan here to see. I'm going to drop my Substack link in here because I just remembered. Oh, shit. Hold on. Oh, Melissa, thank you so much. I appreciate the 5. Thank you for throwing me a 5 over on Cash App. I really appreciate it, Melissa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm glad I caught that. Usually I always forget to turn those notifications on. 9 people over on Rockfin. I appreciate you dropping the link now. All right, let's just scan through some of these videos. There was one that was fucking hysterical, dude. You know, as dark as it is. Like, look at this picture, dude. Like, the only argument he has is that, no, dude, pizza is the name, pizza and baseball is the name of my sex ed program. That's why I'm wearing this pizza thing. That's why I posed with, you know, a pizza on my fucking, you know, on this image. It's like, dude, I fucking doubt it. I fucking doubt it. So, needless to say, here's his Facebook. Let's talk about sex and pizza. Al Vernacchio at TED 2012. Triggers for sexual activity. Baseball and pizza. Pizza. When do you eat pizza? Well, when you're hungry for pizza. And pizza night starts by talking about it. How do you feel about pepperoni? Not so much. I'm a mushroom boy. How about half and half? Vernacchio adds and laughs. Even you've had pizza with someone for a very long time. Don't you still say, should we get the usual or should we go for something more adventurous? Oh, dude, I can't, man. I can't do this. I mean, I can, it's just I don't want to. So I've been examining his following and followers recently. There's nothing that stands out yet, but you know what I'm noticing a push for, guys, is books, children authors. So I go to the local library, a really small town library near me in my town. Really comfy, love the people there. But I've noticed more and more, only in the past few years, a push for these really sexual, really progressive children's books. And I've noticed, like, I've tapped into this community, guys. I looked up the authors on Twitter, on Instagram, and goddamn, dude, they're all occultists. They all do cam and OnlyFans, or follow them. Dude, some of these children's authors that I only found out about through the books that came into the library, the new books, like they're even though they're a children's author, you know, their Twitter account is 18 plus. This is my sexy Twitter account. Meanwhile, you're a children's book author, you know, and you're a tarot card reader. Oh, okay, you're an occultist. Oh, you're a Satanist. I'm not fucking kidding you. And it looks like Al Vernacchio is kind of in that same realm of things. I haven't found evidence like that, like about the occult, the Satanism stuff, but I'm willing to bet, you know, because you see it over and over, dude. Over and over. Let me see if there's anything I'm missing. And this is the 2011 article from Vernacchio, Teaching Good Sex. Planned Parenthood holds briefing on Capitol Hill about real sex ed. Oh, yeah, here it is, guys. Take a look. Here's just another example. This guy Frankie posts an image of a pizza, and it's like the food pyramid. Pizza, protein, nom nom, veggies, yummy, dairy. Keeps the doctors away. And Al Vernacchio retweets that in 2021 and says, "Who am I to argue with @Frankie? The woman is a goddess." Like, he just goes out of his way. Pizza, 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 dude. You know? All right, I think that's about it, guys. That's about all I got for you. So, long story short, do we have any evidence that this guy is a creep? Not directly, but it's the fact that he's a child sex educator tells me that he's well educated and, most importantly, formally educated on all things related to sexual activities in children. That tells me that he should be well aware of pedophile codes and symbolism. And yet, for some reason, he insists on using the most popular of the code words, cheese pizza, pizza, okay? He equates pizza as the same exact thing as the pedos do, okay? And, you know, porn litters, like, the boxes are being lined up. They're being checked off. He fits the bill for a guy that would be bad news, let's say. But do we have publicly available evidence? Not that I can see. But remember, guys, we have ran into this situation before. Don't be fooled. Remember when we last ran into this situation? Remember Peter Bright? AKA Dr. Pizza? Remember? One of the greatest vindications of all time. Trial of Peter Bright. He went by Dr. Pizza online, on social media. He was a former writer for Ars Technica or ARS Technica. And he was disgusting. He tried to arrange a meeting with parents and their children. And it was in like an infant, like a 1, 2, 3-year-old kid. And he was talking to the parents, or who he thought was the parents, who's really FBI agents. And they were arranging a meeting for him to get with those kids. And his name was Dr. Pizza. And remember, guys, Dr. Pizza, he actively made fun of Pizzagate. He actively made fun of us. He whipped up his own little debunks on Twitter, why Pizzagate is stupid. Like right here, this tweet. Pumpkin Fright, December 2014. Then they came for the pedos, and I did not speak out because I am not a pedo. That wasn't the one I was looking for, but yeah, here we go. And I'll let you be the judge of this. Fuck. I'll let you be the judge of this. Hold on. I gotta clear up space on my PC, man. This shit can't fly. It's pissing me off. Like, how long does it take to, you know what I'm saying? Come on, dude. Remember, Dr. Pizza, the guy arrested for trying to get with an infant. You heard it here first. He says yes. Apparently, pizza is now the international symbol of PEDO because PEDOs like to advertise that they're pedos. You know, Peter, I think they do. I think that's exactly what they do. I think they like to advertise that they're videos. In fact, we know they do. The existence of symbols and code, I mean, especially symbols, you know, kind of backs that up, doesn't it? So here's the mission, guys. Number one, and I'm going to be very clear about this. I don't want any of you to contact this guy. Not that you would. This was a pretty normal video, and I thought it was fairly fair, other than a few sarcastic jokes, maybe a little poking fun at him. I don't want you guys to message him. Don't say mean things. Don't comment things, okay? But he's in the news today, so he could be sensitive. He could be putting his stuff on private. He could... The climate is iffy, right? You know, we could get slapped on the wrist here if we start attacking this guy, and you don't want to attack anybody anyway. However, what I do want you to do, okay, is I'm going to provide the links on Substack. Try to find his profiles. I'm going to be looking too, but what my mission is on Instagram and on Twitter. His account is right here, and he pretty much has the same account on everything. His Twitter is public, okay, so his account is this. I'll drop it in the chat. And what I'm going to say is, if you guys do some digging, what we're looking for is the criteria you guys already kind of know about, right? Like, for example, who does he follow? Who's following him? Are there any teen modeling agencies at all? Are there any shady people that he follows? What about cam sites? What about, do you get what I'm saying? The same type of criteria we apply to my Instagram research that I make videos about, right? Like sexual comments where they shouldn't be. Perhaps he's registered to a website that's kind of sketchy. Perhaps many years ago in 2010, he left a comment on some message board before he had notoriety like he does now, using the same username. My advice too is, you know, maybe use one of those services, OSINT services, open source intelligence, and say, you know, put his email in and then see what usernames are yielded from there. You can do that too. So that's, you know, obviously don't contact or anything, but, you know, let me know what you dig up and send me an email, memoryhold7@protonmail.com. But otherwise, I appreciate it. Thank you for the donations, guys, too. I will talk to you very soon. Thanks for hanging.
Do this motherfucking shit.
Bitch.